Gemini, hello, Amanda here. Welcome to Unseen Hands Healing. This is going to be your monthly shift reading for the month of March. So we are looking at the shape you are shifting out of this month, the shape you're shifting into, and what that shape shift looks and feels like. So as I was meditating on your energy, Gemini, I felt like there was a lot of mental energy sort of fogging, floating up in the ether. It was very Seven of Cups energy. For those of you who follow tarot, it's like there's so many different options and so many different ways things could go, different scenarios of how things could play out for you. And you're sort of like analyzing, going through all of them, and they're all swirling and swimming. And then I just saw you like beginning to pop all of those bubbles of the Seven of Cups, like pop, just be like, actually, I'm just gonna burst that and see what's inside of it. Okay, now I know. I'm gonna burst that one and see what's inside of it. Burst it. And it's like, and then I saw one of them containing this like light bulb. And it felt like, that's an idea, you know, like, ooh, that's an idea. So there's something, there's a realization happening with the light bulb moment that sort of cuts through this fog of analysis and playing through tapes and different scenarios and stories in your head that I think creates a mental shift. And I was also feeling when you felt empowered to just like start popping the bubbles, I think you were sort of like, you know what, I'm sick of being in my head in this way. I'm gonna change my mental patterns around this. You know, like definitely a mental shift. And so that's sort of showing up in your cards, although the cards are saying something a bit different. The shape you're shifting out of, we're using the Wildwood Tarot, by the way, is the moon. So absolutely, the moon is that energy of sort of nebulous, emotional, mental space, of being unable to see clearly how to move forward, sort of feeling like you're at once under the water and also above somehow, you know, it's like that's sort of Gemini energy, being in two places at once, present in your life and yet underwater at the same time. And then there's this shift. It's interesting too, because the full moon has been coming through. There's a full moon in Virgo on March 9th. That moon has been coming through these monthly shift readings like crazy in this deck. And here it is for you also, Gemini. That Virgo full moon could really bring us some illumination here for many of us. So you're shifting from this nebulous energy of the moon into a transitional energy with the Six of Swords. Note the full moon again. I think you're suddenly realizing what you need to release, because full moons are all about release. You're realizing what you need to release in terms of like your mental and emotional patterning in order to make a shift, a transition, in order to move on in some way, in order to move forward. The Six of Swords is a card of moving on, and it says transition. The moon on the water shows that like the reflection, this emotional, what your emotions are reflecting back to you. That's very Gemini energy too, this idea of reflection, of being in two places at once, of the mirror. And we're seeing that here. Your emotions, I think, your head space and your heart space are reflecting something back to you that may feel difficult to see clearly, but I think that energy is here for you this month, and then that helps you make some sort of transition, some sort of moving on, some sort of shift, even if it's just a mental process of moving on, as if moving on or shifting a mental process is a small thing. No, but you know what I mean. Moving on from rough waters to calm waters, moving into calmer emotional territory. Now, how does this shift happen? Very interesting, Gemini. We have the 9 of Arrows in this deck. That is dedication. 9 of Swords. The Forest Lovers, which is your card, Gemini. And then the 6 of Cups, the 6 of Vessels, which says in this deck, reunion. Note the 2 otters over there and these 2 lovers coming together. There's something about Gemini. You're able to, look, there's a lot of solo energy in this card. And I'm getting an energy of refocusing, you know, whereas like if you're in the energy of the moon, there's this sort of nebulous, emotional space that can create a 9 of Swords sort of situation in the traditional tarot, which is like mental worry, stress, anxiety, mental overwhelm, mental overload, because you can't see the way forward. And this dedication card is sort of speaking to me that the way to cut through that mental energy is just like one step at a time. One step at a time. I'm actually seeing you like refocusing your energy into yourself and into what makes you feel alive and productive and in tune with yourself, and feeling like your work matters out in the world, and feeling like you are able to dedicate yourself to something, even if it's like dedicating yourself to your own personal development, dedicating yourself to this craft that you're working on learning, dedicating yourself to getting enough rest, like whatever that is, you are dedicating. We're seeing this person almost looks like they're like playing an instrument, you know, honing this craft, and through dedication, which means like repetition, discipline, devotion. Like, I'm going to show up for this yoga practice every single day because I need to dedicate my energies. I need to channel all that mental energy into something focused, Gemini, in order to get any kind of clarity reflected back to me. Okay, dedication, and this is something independent. This is something that's just you dedicating yourself to something, to your work, again, to yoga practice, to meditation, to sharing your feelings the moment they come to you rather than compartmentalizing them. Like, whatever that is, whatever you're dedicating yourself to, it's helping you to focus all that mental energy. And it's interesting that she has her eyes closed, because there's this like introspective quality to this where you're really just like feeling your own energy and feeling your way through this. Whatever you're dedicating yourself to is helping you feel into yourself in a deeper way. This is like really self-focused in a self-awareness sort of way. And then we have Forest Lovers and Reunion, which I'm seeing in two ways. This could be that you are coming to, then this like unites, brings you together within yourself. Energies within yourself come together in this united front that allows you to experience the renewal, like almost like a reunion with yourself. Feeling reunited with yourself in this way that brings like the fresh waters of spring, this fresh energy, and like that's the transition. You know, it's actually a transition from being in the moon to feeling this sense of solidity within yourself and reunion within yourself, which brings new life and new vitality, because you're able to see yourself clearly, because you're able to channel your mental, emotional energy. And that's the shift. That's the mental shift that we're seeing. Now, this is also, Gemini, if this applies to you, could be indicative of you and someone in your life coming together, like through you focusing on yourself. You are better able to see those in your intimate life as mirrors for you. You know, like seeing them as a clearer reflection for you. And that somehow unites you, brings you together, maybe even reunites you if there's been strain in a relationship or time apart or something like that. It like, this is bringing you together and feeling a sense of refreshment between the two of you. Okay? So maybe that part applies to you, maybe not, but regardless, you've got to come into union with yourself and feel a sense of reunion with you at the same time that you're coming together with another, or maybe before you're coming together with another. And that seems to be the thing, needing to see this clear reflection through murky emotional territory, mental emotional territory. That's the shift. That's the transition. Okay, let's get you a card, a fairy card here from Brian Froud's Fairies. Fairy card for Gemini here in the month of March. What is the fairy guidance for Gemini here in the month of March? The Six of Cups is saying to me, emotional renewal. Look at the way the stream is peaceful. All is still in the forest. The otters have come together to drink from this clear flowing fountain. Like a wellspring, like a fountain of youth almost. Renewal, total renewal energy through this. Yeah, just like fresh, clear, flowing water, indicating the difference between like a murky emotional state of water that is like perhaps still or difficult to see through, versus this like clear flowing babbling brook, which speaks of joy and clarity and emotional renewal and sweetness. A return of sweetness with yourself through a focused dedication to something, through a very focused effort to get there with yourself and or with another. Okay, and it requires you to make a mental shift. Just want to be clear on that. Okay, let's get you a fairy guidance. Fairy guidance for Gemini in March, please. Fairy guide for Gemini in the month of March. Such a Gemini card. Oh my gosh. Woo! Too many fairies. Too many fairies. Okay. Interesting. You've got Tabira of the Waters, which speaks to me of that emotional energy. Because as you can see, she's cupping that water in her hands. And it almost looks to me today like she's looking for her own reflection in that water. You are looking to see yourself in this way. You are looking to understand yourself in this way, it seems, Gemini. And there's a big emotional quality to this. Really intense emotional time, but it's like that. The reflection in your emotions seems to be the key mirror here. How are others triggering you emotionally? What are your emotional responses to situations? How is the very like analysis, murkiness quality of your emotions? How is that a reflection for you? Okay, and then we're looking at Sage, the sage, there's wisdom in that. There's wisdom to be found in that emotional reflection for you. And I said this is a Gemini energy because there's like two sides to this sage. One eye is looking within, one eye is looking out. And that's where you find the wisdom. That's where you find the mirror. You look without to look within, and vice versa. Interesting energy, Gemini. Okay, so we're going to take this into an extended reading now. I want to get a little more details, if we can, on what is this murky energy? What is this murky emotional energy, and how are you being asked to transition? What do you need to focus on to help? What are you dedicating yourself to help in this process? And then what is this reunion energy? This like coming together with self and others and this sense of renewal. I want to look at that. So I'm going to put a preview of what the extended reading gets into at the end of this video so that you can check that out and see if it's resonating with you. If it is, click the link below and that will take you over to Patreon. Patreon is a community I've set up for folks who've been following my work for some time. You know it resonates with you. You may consider joining that community over there and getting monthly access to these extended readings if you want to dive deeper into the monthly energies that come through this channel. Okay, so if that sounds like something you're interested in, head on over there to view the extended reading. Please read the full description on the homepage when you get there that instructs you on how Patreon works and how you can view that extended, okay? All right, Gemini, maybe I'll see you over at the extended, but regardless, thanks so much for hanging out with me here today. If you're enjoying this work, please do click that like button and leave a comment. Let me know how it's resonating with you. I'd love to hear from you. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so we can stay connected moving forward. All right, Gemini, take care. Is it true there is no other option? Is it true there is no other path? Is it true there is no other way to go about this? Is it true you have no other options but to stay on this one path and be overwhelmed and cry? You know? Is it true there is no other? And then we have like the hand of God coming in and like ding, ringing you on in the singing bowl on the head to get you to vibrate in a different way, to get you to see something, see a larger perspective. It's interesting that the way this card is activating you into seeing the larger picture or seeing more options for yourself or getting a new idea. Remember the light bulb? This is that light bulb. Ding. Oh, right. I guess I could do that. Yeah, you know, but the way it gets you to have that aha moment is through physically vibrating your being. Energy work, body work, yoga, working out, rock climbing, whatever the heck. Get yourself in your body in order to have this epiphany. And if you can escape to do it, I would encourage that because it seems like you need a break.